Hey, welcome back to Cow Couple. How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing great. Naked on a motorcycle. That's the title of this video, and I gotta tell you guys the story of how this whole thing came to be. Now, I'm gonna change some names here. Obviously, I don't want everybody to know who's who, and not that many of you would ever find out. But it's a fun little story that I think you guys will love. So enjoy it. I'm gonna go with Jack, Jill, and Bob. Let's use those three names. So I have some acquaintances who I think are, you know how we all have those crazy friends? Well, that's kind of how these guys are, Jack, Jill, and Bob. So basically, Bob is a motorcycle rider. He loves riding motorcycles. He's always ridden motorcycles. Now I've known Bob for a little while, but that being said, Bob kind of got his buddy Jack involved in motorcycles, and of course, you guys know how that works. It kind of snowballs, and now Jill was involved in riding motorcycles. So I happen to know Jack pretty well, and well, Jack and Jill, and we were recently talking. I rarely ever talk to them anymore. They moved away, but I was recently talking to Jack, and it's like, well, you know, I know you ride and your wife rides, and how do you guys, you know, how do you guys like riding? So they know about the channel. They kind of seen some of the beginning, in the beginning stages of Cow Couple. So I told them we love riding, but it was kind of weird that he asked me because normally we talk about technology and other stuff. So he goes, okay, well, it's so weird because my wife is kind of kinky. So, you know, Bob, Jack, and Jill would decided to go up and do some nice little rides and have a little fun. And once they traveled not long, like about 3 hours away from where they live, and then Bob ended up with getting a phone call that he has to leave. So he left, and then these two decided to go to their original destination, which was up in the woods. And well, woods, you know, just there was a cabin there, and basically, you know, they, like I said, Jill being a little bit kinky, not that Jack isn't, they decided they're gonna try and do the dirty on the motorcycle, right? Which is kind of hilarious. That day they couldn't really do anything because it was they were just tired from the ride. You know, you all know how it is. After long rides, you just sometimes want to sit down. You can barely wait to peel off all the gear, you know. So that night they stayed out and, you know, chilled out, camping a little bit. Well, at the cabin anyway. And as he was telling me this, it was hilarious because she was explaining how the whole story was happening, kind of in the background, and kind of reminding him. And I'm on speaker at this point. So what his biggest thing was, he was asking me like, okay, so what's the kinkiest thing you and your wife ever did on the motorcycle? And I told him, like, you know, and I'm being completely 100% honest with you guys. Mrs. K and I, when it comes to motorcycles, we ride motorcycles, and that's about it. You know, we get on and we go for a ride and explore and then come back home. That's maybe make a video for you guys. But so we explained it to them, and like, oh, so you guys haven't done anything crazy? I'm like, no, I mean, honestly, it's just relaxing. I enjoy the ride. So it goes, okay, well, the funny thing for us is we were, you know, we saw some stupid little threads online, and we just wanted to see if you can do the dirty on the motorcycle. And I said, well, what you guys end up doing? He goes, well, the next day we rode down to the town and picked up some food. But when we came back, hey guys, excuse the interruption of the video. I hope you guys are enjoying what you're seeing so far. That being said, it's really important for us to kind of let you guys know that there is a subscribe button. Please hit that subscribe button if you guys like what you're seeing so far. That notification bell is going to allow you to basically know whenever I'm uploading future videos. Your support really means everything because, well, that's how YouTubers grow. That's how YouTubers are able to bring you just more and more content. If you like this video, chances are your friends will love it too. So consider sharing the video. Most importantly, comment on the video. Every time you leave a comment, I know what I'm doing right. I know what I'm doing wrong. I know what you guys are curious about, and I make all of my videos based on that particular, I guess, ideology. So yeah, definitely really important. That being said, I also have other channels. In the description of this video, you'll find a few links. Each link has a little description of what those channels are all about, just in case you might like, well, different topics to explore. That being said, thank you so much for your support. Without you guys, we are nothing. So let's get back to the show now. So actually, to put it in perspective, they both ride, they don't ride sport bikes, obviously, they ride cruisers. So anyway, when they came back, that's when they decided they're gonna get down and dirty and have their little fun. Well, while they were doing their, having their happy time, Bob came. But Bob, Bob did this really weirdly because he rides a sport bike, and so he rode up to the edge of basically just off the road, and then he had to walk up the rest of the path to get to the cabin. He did not want to take his sport bike. I believe it is actually, I'm remembering well, I think it's a Ducati, but don't quote me on it. I have to ask Bob. So Bob is walking up the trail and naturally catches these two doing the crazy stuff, right? So it's kind of wonky to me that, obviously I'm not going to ask you guys in the comment section, tell me what's the craziest thing you guys have done on the motorcycle. You're more than welcome to let me know in the comments if you are comfortable saying it. Just choose your words carefully because YouTube probably won't allow the comment to go through. So if you guys want to tell us the whole story, great, but keep it as friendly as possible, YouTube friendly. So anyway, Bob catches these two, and now he's kind of not sure what to do. And I think we've all somehow been involved in that type of atmosphere, at least once in our life, where we kind of come across this, weird situation where we're like, oh man, you turn around, you don't look, but you're not sure how to announce yourself now. So a lot of us would have probably done what Bob was intending to do, which was to go back down, sneak his way back down and then throw it up. He said he was going to throw a branch, like pretend a branch broke or something and hope that the guys hear it. So, and then just kind of call out. And he had some ideas running through his head, but he never got there because as he started backing up, he tripped and just fell right on his back, which of course made Jill was the first to realize it from what she told me. And of course it's kind of embarrassing. So, they went and helped him up. I'd like to point out that Bobby's an older gentleman. He's around 68, I think. And he already has a pretty bad back. So that for him to fall, it's kind of dangerous. First of all, for him riding the bike that he rides is pretty uncomfortable, and he rides it for hours. If you got, man, that man can ride hours upon hours. I know I cry about having a bad back. That's why I have an upright bike. He's a much bigger man than I am, that's for sure. So anyway, the two Jack and Jill run over very quickly to Bob and, to help him up. And of course, we have to keep in mind that at this point, both Jack and Jill are in their birthday suits. So as Jill leans over, first thing he sees is Jill's chest, of course. And then, they get a hold of his arms and just to slowly help him up, And as, oh my God, these two. So as he's being picked up, the way Jill got a hold of his arm just kind of went down and grazed, I guess, Jill's bottom, right? Well, front in this case. And he said that he basically turned red when he looked up at Jill. Now he was basically bloodshot red. He's apologizing and all that stuff. And these two start laughing and, Well, long story short, they basically go into the cabin. He took off his gear and chilled out, while these two went out and, got themselves decent, right? They put some clothes on. But the weirdest thing about that is the conversation that they had afterwards. Jack was telling me that it was a ongoing conversation the whole night. He actually ended up going down and riding up the bike himself, just because they didn't want to leave the bike down there. So this was discussed when he originally supposed to show up the previous night, that they'll take the cruisers up, and then Jack is going to take the bike, the sport bike, up for Bob. So that night, that's all they talked about, how crazy it was and everything else. So they felt comfortable and everything was fine and dandy. And the next morning, unfortunately, it was time to go. So they decided all three of them are going to ride back home. And as they were riding about halfway home, on the communicator, Jill told Jack, I feel frisky. Can we stop somewhere quickly? Which, of course, Bob is on the communicator as well. So Bob's like, oh my God, guys, like, wait till you get home or get a room or something, And Jack's like, well, how about you go up to the nearest, to the first gas station or first restaurant, your choice, and we'll meet up with you. Well, and sure enough, Jack and Jill stopped on the side of the road. There was this little clearing, and from what they explained to me, it was like, one of those big ditches sometimes you find on the side of the highway. Well, that's how they came up with the idea that they'll just park their bikes and head down the ditch, do the dirty, and then head back up, get on the bikes, and go. Funny enough, I guess it was highway patrol saw the two bikes there, and if I was highway patrol, I'd be wondering what's going on too. So he just pulled up right behind the bikes and got out of the car. And from what Jill was telling me, they were in a very compromising position, if that's fair to say. Use your imagination, okay? And so as suddenly they look up and there's Popo looking down at them, what the hell are you two doing? Although it apparently was a good laugh, because Jack basically looked up at him and said, well, if you're enjoying the show, great. If not, just write us a ticket. So they didn't get a ticket. They basically were told to, gear up and get going, right? And that's what they did. But yeah, that was the crazy story of my friends Jack and Jill, with a little bit of additional for Bob. So I mean, to put it in perspective, Jack and Jill are, I think they're in their late 40s. So they're having fun. They're enjoying life. But that being said, I thought it would be a funny one to tell you guys. In fact, it wasn't actually my idea. This was Jack's idea. I thought it would make for a good video. I told him, well, you can always comment like an idiot, because I didn't realize that if he comments on a video, then people know who he is. So I know he's got a couple of accounts, so he might end up commenting on a video. And if you do comment, Jack, then cool. But yeah, people have fun, and there's some topics I don't think anybody covers on a motorcycle because it's kind of awkward. You know what? I have lots of different channels covering lots of different topics. I was a fine art nude photographer for years, so this kind of stuff doesn't bother me. I'm more than happy to discuss it. The best part about it is I actually have a few other friends who kind of told me something just as silly with some of the bikes. Back in the, especially from the 70s and 80s, when, it was a different world in those days, right? So the amount of craziness that happened on motorcycles and the stories I heard from them was just impeccable. They're absolutely bonkers, the kind of stuff people did on motorcycles. And I mean, I don't know if I would ever I don't care how skilled I am. Some of those things are nuts. If you guys want to hear more, let me know, because I'll talk to, the individuals, and if they say, yeah, I can talk about it, there's, again, as long as I change the names, I think I'm okay with it. But I still, out of respect, obviously, want to talk to see if I can share the story with you guys. If you guys want to hear more like this, let me know. I think it's pretty freaking neat. But again, this was Jack and Jill, actually, was both of their ideas, and Bob was kind of embarrassed, but I told Bob that don't worry about it. Nobody will know who you are. And he said, he came around. He says, yeah, okay, fine. So there you guys go. You guys got a wonky story out of wonky motor. It's a motorcycle story, but it's hilarious. In case you guys are wondering, so on the cruiser, apparently they're, depending on the cruiser it is, because this is something that Jack was telling me, that on her cruiser, it would have been pretty much impossible to do what they were doing on his cruiser. I don't want to, I'm not going to go into more just because it's YouTube. But anyway, thanks for watching. And I'm in my office, man. I'm tired. I've been here for many, many hours, but I figured, you know what, I'll make this video for you guys because it's freaking hilarious. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Till then, everybody, please ride safe, have fun, and share your stories if you want. I'd love to hear some of these old stories. I sit down with old timers. Man, the old timers have stories that are gonna blow your mind. And everything, for some reason, with the old timers, it's always naughty stories. Always. So it's fun. All right. Love, Ride, Explore. See ya.